Right, I'm going to be cooking a curry duck. In Trinidad, where I'm from, we curry everything. Now these, I'm using some duck breast, but if I were at home in Trinidad, I'd use the whole entire duck. Everything all cut up, there's nothing to waste. I've actually used here at times you can get the leg and thighs as well as the duck breast and makes a beautiful curry. I don't think there's anything in Trinidad that we don't curry. And mind you, it all tastes really nice. So I'm just going to trim off. It comes off quite easy, the skin. Alright, so I've got my duck breast, and because we're going to put them on pancakes, you want to cut them really small and it's going to cook really quick. So all I'm going to do is some quick little slices. The thinner it is, the better, the quicker it'll cook. If you were using like leg and thigh, then you could just cook the whole thing together on its own, and then after it's cooked down slowly, then you could just shred it apart. That's actually quite lovely. But today we're trying out the duck breast. So I'm actually then going to cut that in half. Just quickly do the other one. Cut it in half first, and then cut it into little strips. One of the other things I think that the Caribbean is very famous for is curry goat. And yes, we do eat a lot of curry goat because we really don't have lamb there, so hence curry goat. I guess in the UK, the Caribbean influences come strongly from the Jamaican community, because that's the biggest Caribbean population. But if you go through the Caribbean, each island has really lovely, their own flavor. I think Trinidad is probably one of the ones that just about curry, meat, fruit, you name it. Okay, so there's your duck. Isn't that gorgeous looking? I'll quickly wash my hands. And now we season it, just like we seasoned earlier, the prawns, not the prawns. I completely forgot whatever I cooked before. The chicken. It's the age thing. Yeah, okay, so soy sauce. I put soy sauce on everything, all my meats. You could actually use a bit of Worcester sauce on this. The stronger the meat. So if I were making lamb, I'd probably use a little bit more Worcester sauce. It's got a bit of tamarind in it, and I really like that. And earlier we made the green herb rub. I'm just going to put that in there. Pretty soon you'll be able to buy my brand of my Caribbean herb rub online and in stores. So there we go. I think that's enough. And we're just going to let that sit a bit. I'm going to put a pinch of black pepper. Well, that was more than a pinch. And a smidgen of salt. Stir it back up, and that is ready to go. You could do this the night before. You know, again, with meats, the longer you marinate, you could freeze it and then cook it when you're ready. But we're just going to cook it just like that. So I'm going to get my pot ready. And then we'll get the curry paste ready. So a little bit of oil, a little bit of water. Mild curry or hot curry? Too much to choose from. We're trying Dunn River's hot curries from Grace Foods. Shall we do a bit of both? Yes, let's do a bit of both. So, oops. You can sprinkle it like I was doing and fry it. That's another way to do it. But I'm going to do it like how I sort of grew up doing it. A bit of curry, make a curry paste with a bit of water. Spoon. Stir it up. That's ready to go. Let's get the stove on. about a medium heat. I'm using rapeseed oil. It's a new. Ordinarily, we would just use in the Caribbean, we just use vegetable oil. I love using rapeseed oil, especially when you're doing meats and stuff. You get this beautiful, beautiful brown color. So just a little bit of oil. As soon as that's hot, I'm just going to add the curry to it, and then add the duck. Earlier on, I parboiled some sweet potato, and the reason I did that, I'm going to add it to the duck, but because the duck cooks so quickly, it's easier to cook the sweet potatoes before. Now, when this is all done, this is actually like a meal on its own. When you add the curry to the oil, you want the oil to be really hot, and you want it to sizzle, fry up a bit, and then you add your meat. Okay, I think we're ready. Smell of home. I'm just going to let that fry up just a little bit more. Lost my spatula. I'm going to add some red onions. You can actually add normal onions, it doesn't really matter. I'm kind of partial to red onions. And probably just for a minute or two, and then in goes the duck with all its sauces. Just want to let that fry a bit on one side so that the curry just fries nicely and soaks in, and then we turn it over. And then we'll just leave it for just a bit while we get our pancakes ready. Okay, self-rising flour. If you don't have self-rising flour, just add some baking powder to it. And I'm going to add to this coconut milk and spinach and some eggs. So we need to actually blend up the eggs first. I've lost the bowl again. So let's get a bowl. Here we go. In this instance, I'm only going to use one egg because to add the Caribbean flavor to this, I'm using coconut milk rather than you would use normal milk. If you're making pancakes, you know it's normally eggs, flour, and milk. So we're doing that, except we're using coconut milk, and I'm adding spinach to it. And again, we've got some lovely coconut milk from Grace Foods, and we're going to add as needed according to the batter. So add a bit here first, stir it into the eggs. I'm going to add my spinach to the egg batter. I'm cheating, I'm using frozen spinach, but I've found with the frozen spinach it's easier to work with. If you're using whole, fresh spinach, you need to steam it down, chop it up. Otherwise, it's just too lumpy to put into the spinach. The pancake. So mix it in with the eggs, just so it kind of nicely mixes in. And if this coconut milk is too thick, we're going to have to add some water. Let's try that. Right. I need to add the sweet potatoes to the duck. Give that a stir. And I'm just going to add a little bit of water to this. taste it and see what it needs. Okay, spinach pancake. This is really nice to get the kids making, and what, you know, the nice thing about this, you get kids making a spinach pancake, you know, they might surprise you and start liking it. So I'm going to just keep adding now the coconut milk. Well, this particular batch is going to take all of it. And then, you know, you can look to see, well, does it have enough spinach in it? That's kind of like what it's looking like, and I'm thinking maybe I want a little bit more. Right, so I've just added the last of the coconut milk, and that is just a nice drop-in consistency. And then the last thing we're going to add to this is a bit of cumin. Oh, I just love the smell of cumin. So that's a bit Caribbean bit to it. There we go. You know, with this pancake, you can add anything. You could add chili pepper sticks, you could add spring onions, all kinds of stuff. Right, so we're ready to make a pancake. Right, the pan's heating up nicely and it's snowing outside. Wow. Lovely winter day, and we're making Caribbean food. Okay, so I love using this spray oil because it means when you, for things like pancakes and stuff, you don't use a lot of oil, and you can make the pancakes as big as you want or as little as you want. We're sort of making canapé style, appetizer style ones. Right. There's our first pancake. And I'm just going to a little bit of duck. And there we have our spinach pancake with curried duck. And just a bit of little herbs on the side, and it's ready to go. I know what's missing on this. I think a bit of chili. Robert's laughing. So there you have it. A spinach pancakes with curried duck. And I really can't resist